going to do something I've actually never done here on the channel. Since we're getting into, well, ice season. We're getting close. I'm going to take you guys on a tour of all of the access points around the lake that are commonly ice fished from. Kind of show you what they look like, show you where they are on the map in relation to other areas on the lake. So, sit back, pothole, welcome to Michigan, and enjoy. As I take you around the lake, we're going to go all the way up to the north end of the lake, and we're going to work our way back on down.
One of the best to ever do it.
So, I'm at the Raft. The Raft seems to be the very first place that freezes up every year up here on Lake St. Clair. It is located on Bouvier Bay, which is just off the North Channel, up here on the northern end of the U.S. waters here on Lake St. Clair. So, the Raft gets its name from the bar back behind me here called the Raft. They're known to have really good burgers, so after a morning out ice fishing, stop in, grab yourself a burger, some greasy deep fried pickles or mushrooms, a beer before you head back out for that evening bite. Another cool part about the access here at the Raft is that they actually have a ramp that gets you in on the lake, so no jumping off of break walls to get in the lake. And they also offer parking. I'm actually standing in their smaller parking lot. It's a few bucks. I want to say like $2 to $5 to park here. They got a field that they across from the restaurant that they also own that you can park in. So that is definitely nice. You know, a couple bucks, you got a good place to eat and some quick access to early first ice. The next stop on our tour is the Fairhaven DNR launch, boat launch here. If you have a state parks permit, you're allowed to use every ramp in the state of Michigan, and this is one of them. This is literally about a mile to a mile and a half down from the Raft. This would be your second area that would ice up every winter. As you can see back behind me here, it's a really good bay. Over here off the rocks there's some shallow sand flats with some weeds. There actually is a small wreck over back behind me as well that's on Navionics that will hold some rock bass in that early on in the winter. But it's a nice protected area, part of Bouvier Bay. So this is another popular spot to access the lake for early ice, but also once the ice gets thicker, they do a lot of racing of snowmobiles and other machines here. So once we kind of get into that 8 to 12 inch ice, not a place you want to be fishing. One of the really cool things about the Fairhaven boat launch and the Raft area in particular in Bouvier Bay here is that you got a bait shop literally right next to the boat launch. You got maybe 5 feet of grass separating the bait shop's parking lot and the boat launch's parking lot. And the shop here behind me is Brian's Blue Water Bait and Tackle. Nice little small local shop. Good place to pick up live bait, maybe a couple snacks, some local hot lures. Really? Some local hot lures. And get some good up-to-date information of stuff that's might be going on that day or that secret stuff that maybe only the locals know. Spot is not like a hotbed of fishing area, but it is public access, which is tough to come by out here on Lake St. Clair. It is the Walter and Mary Burke Park in downtown New Baltimore. It's actually in the middle of Anchor Bay on the North Shore. It's got a fishing pier. It's got a nice sandy beach access that you can definitely hand walk down some shanties from the parking spots in and around the city and the park here on Front Street. Nice little place. If you're up in the area in the summertime with your family, good place to come hang out for the day. One other thing about this park that makes it unique is that it is actually home to the largest flagpole in the state of Michigan at 160 feet tall. It is definitely a regular marker that we all use out here in the open water for locating where we are in relation to other pieces of structure and other areas on the lake. Just cool thing. Really nice, quiet town. So You should be able to locate some perch, northern pike out here on the weed beds. This is definitely a main lake location that will need some time to freeze and firm up, but could be a place, you know, in January or mid-January or beginning of February to come out and take a look for some panfish and some fish out here on Anchor Bay. The next stop on our tour is the Saugatuck DNR boat launch. It's right outside the Saugatuck Air National Guard base here on the southern end of Anchor Bay. It's a fairly large boat launch and a very, very popular one. As you can see behind me, you have a nice concrete ramp, so if you have machines, you'll be able to drive them right out onto the ice from here. But keep in mind, there is some gas pockets and pressure crack areas out in this area to be cautious of early in the year and late in the year. Predominantly, guys are going to be catching a lot of perch out here in front of the DNR launch. Another cool part is they just expanded a huge area out here for some shore fishing. So more shore access for us shorebound guys and ice fishermen to access the canal system back behind Angler's Point right over here. The best part about the Saugatuck DNR boat launch is that you got two shops here. Behind me here is Angler's Point, got new owners, Chris and his wife. Great couple, first time meeting them here today actually, but they're right across the street from the boat ramp, so you can come in and get your bait, snacks, tackle, local spoons that are hard to get. So stop on to Angler's Point here when you're here at Saugatuck fishing. The next stop on our tour here is actually the Harley Hanson boat launch, which is the largest boat launch here on Lake St. Clair, but also probably the least utilized access point for ice fishing. For a couple reasons. On the other side from where I'm at here, you have the mouth of Clint River comes out. So you have some current areas, some very sketchy ice areas here. But back behind me here, this is what's locally known as Candles Bay. It's the bay between the point out here at Harley and Huron Point over at the Lake St. Clair Metro Park, which we'll be visiting here very, very shortly. This area out here will have some good amount of bluegill and sunfish and some good perch fishing throughout the winter. It is trickier ice conditions out here, so if you do come out in this area, be careful. Check that ice everywhere you go. So here we're at the second to last stop on the tour of the common and popular community access points here on Lake St. Clair for the ice season. Behind me, this is the Lake St. Clair Metro Park, and this is the day sail part of the park. This is an area in the park where you're actually able to access the main lake, particularly the Lance Cruise Bay area of the lake, with a machine. This place is very popular perch fishermen. There's usually a lot of perch caught from out here. Bluegill, pike, walleye, just about everything that swims in this lake can be caught out here on Lance Cruise Bay. But you do have other areas of ice fishing activity that you can access, like the marinas, both the north and south marina. These marinas both are going to hold bluegill and perch. You will get occasionally some bass and some northern pike and maybe a muskie. Hear some random steelhead every now and again that get caught inside the marinas. But we have one more spot back here in the Metro Park that you do need to know about, and that is, we affectionately call it the marsh, because, well, it's a marsh. And as you can see, we have a little bit of skim ice back here. Now, settle down. We still got a few weeks before we start making ice out in the main lake. But back here, you can get us a fair amount of good bluegill from time to time. It's not a red hot spot that can take a lot of pressure, but guys do like to come back here and venture when there's no ice in the marinas or out off the day sail on Lance Cruise, just to scratch that itch that they're on ice. And if you're in this area, you need fishing tackle, you need bait, well, if you look really closely back over my shoulder there, you see that white building? That's Sportsman's Direct. So you got nice, easy access to tackle here at the Lake St. Clair Metro Park as well. So that's the Lake St. Clair Metro Park. It is by far probably the most popular location for people to come out and fish. There's a few events that happen out here, one hosted by the Lake St. Clair Walleye Association, which is a kids event. It's free to the kids. When I get that information, I'll post that up on the ice reports and ice fishing reports. And also there is the Cold as Ice tournament that happens out here, and when that information becomes available, I will also share that with everybody on the channel. And the last stop on our tour of common Lake St. Clair ice fishing access points. This here is the Clinton River Spillway DNR boat launch, aka Crocker. This will give you access to the southern part of L'Anse Creuse Bay. All you have to do is head out and around that point where it says Hideaway, a little further outside of Beacons Cove, and you'll get out behind Geno's. Now, some of you might be watching this that do know a lot of these access points and are going, Justin, you forgot about Geno's. Well, I left it out for a very, very important reason. Geno's went under new ownership about 2 years ago. It has not been open other than a couple times the very first season they took it over. And I know they're doing a tremendous amount of construction over there right now, so I do not have high hopes for them opening that up to paid parking. But we do have Crocker here, and what's nice about Crocker is it gives you access to the spillway. It's actually pretty close. It's about 400-foot walk, give or take. But when this here spillway freezes up, generally you'll find a lot of yellow perch in here, and occasionally some walleye, northern pike. Heck, even heard of whitefish coming out of here on a rare occurrence. Don't plan on catching whitefish here, guys. It just kind of happens randomly occasionally. So, you know, the spillway, when it freezes, it's got good fish. It's a short walk from the Crocker boat launch. So that's gonna do it of the tour of the common public access points here on Lake St. Clair. Some of you might be asking why I didn't do anything down in St. Clair Shores. Well, it's really simple. There really isn't any public access. If you're a St. Clair Shores resident, you may have some access to yourself, since you guys have a large park system down there that is only available to the residents of St. Clair Shores. So, with that said, guys, I do appreciate you stopping in and checking out this video. If you have any questions, please feel free and leave a comment down below. And as always, guys, keep casting, both in life and in fishing, and we'll see you out on the water.
1, 2, 3.